Yeah, good morning, everyone. First of all, a huge thank you for taking time out of your weekend, especially on Sunday morning to be here. I know how difficult it is, and I really appreciate all your efforts and interest in, taking out time for attending this demonstration. So it actually, shows that you are ready to take the first exciting step towards this new career. I mean, I would say this is a very rewarding uh, career. So yeah, myself, Suman, and I will be guiding you through this demo session today. Now, like this actual training, SAP Security and GRC training is planned to be quite detailed, running for nearly 3 months almost. Okay, so covering absolutely everything in a demo isn't really possible that So, however, given that many of you are starting with no prior SAP background, so my goal today is to just to make that SAP term very simple for you, and we will cover what SAP is, and then we will dive into our entire course outline. Okay, so you will know exactly what topics we are going to explore together by end of this session. Okay, so please be very attentive. Okay, I'll do my best to wrap everything up within our scheduled time, so before 11:15. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? All good? Okay, keep it
Yeah.
interactive, guys, if possible. Yeah. So just a quick note. So we'll have all our individual introductions for when our batch officially kicks off on July 1st as planned. Okay. So for now, we'll get started. Okay. So now I know many of you are coming from a different backgrounds, and the term SAP might sound complex or very new at this moment. So I'll just try to make it very simple. Guys, let me know once you're able to see my screen. Okay, can someone please confirm if you're able to see my screen? Just a
Yes.
word
Yes.
application.
Yes. We can able to see you.
Perfect. So as I told, like by end of this session, you will understand exactly what SAP is, and our entire course outline. We are going to cover S4HANA, I mean ECC, S4HANA, Fiori security, and GRC access control, especially. Okay, and you will also understand why it's a backbone of many companies. You consider any world's largest companies. You can consider any small scale to large scale companies. Okay, and why securing it is one of the most critical jobs in the IT industry. Okay, so let's start with simple question like imagine let's say a massive company or any let's say some car manufacturer. Okay, you can consider Tata or Benz. Okay, let's consider BMW company. Okay, or any consumer goods, so like Nestle or someone, which is massive company which runs worldwide. Okay, what do they need to function? Okay, let's consider this car manufacturer. Okay, BMW. So what do they need to function? Any thoughts on that? There are a lot to manage, right? If I say some massive company, so there are lot to things that we take into consideration to run that business smoothly. Okay, so they should have a department to manage money, right? So that is a finance department, and they have a department to hire and pay new people. That is a HR department. Okay, they have a department to buy, as this is a car manufacturer company, so they had to buy a raw materials and all. For that we have a procurement department, right? And yeah, once they manufacture cars and everything, there should be a department to make the products and to sell also. For the making the products and all, they need a production department, right? And of course, as I told, the department to sell them, that is again a sales and distribution. Okay, so there are many, just I'm noting down a very few here. Now imagine if each of these departments, okay, finance, HR, procurement, Okay, production, SD. There are many. Okay, if I note down there, it will go 20 plus. But okay, if each of these departments okay used completely different softwares okay that couldn't talk to each other, okay, finance is using separate application, HR is using a separate application, and if each department is using a separate application, let's say the sales team wouldn't know what's stock in the warehouse, and the finance team even they would struggle to know whom to pay, I mean when to pay. Okay, it would be great chaos, I can say. Okay, so this is where ERP comes into picture. Okay, when I say ERP comes in, so it is enterprise resource planning. Okay, ERP stands for enterprise resource planning. So just think of it as one, you know, the large, I mean, the integrated software, and I would say it's a single source of truth. I mean, for all the, all the departments. I mean, for the, I mean, companies, it's you can consider this as a company's digital brain. Okay, so just a second, guys. Okay. Yeah, I was telling this, consider this as, some central nervous system of that company or a digital brain of that company. Okay, it connects every single part of business. Okay, and the world's leading ERP software is SAP. Okay, it is world's leading ERP. So SAP is also an ERP solution that is available in the markets, and it's a world's leading ERP. Okay, so what is SAP? So as I told you, can just consider this as some central nervous system for thousands of the world's most successful companies. Okay, not just for large scale, but even for small scale, medium scale, and large scale industries also. They are using this SAP ERP tool to manage their businesses. Okay, now if this SAP is company's brains, so what is our job as SAP security professionals? So you are aiming for this, right? So you are here to attend this demonstration to become security professionals, especially SAP security professionals. Okay, so we are the guardians of this brain. Okay, when I say this brain, like that's the entire nervous system of that company. Okay, so we hold as a security professionals, we hold that keys to that kingdom. Okay, when I just compare that with that kingdom, so we are the one who are holding that keys in our hands. Okay, our job is to make sure that right people have the right access. Okay, okay, when I say right access to that right information and at the right time. Okay, there are many uh, things that I mentioned: right people, right access, right information, and right time. Okay, that's our job. And most importantly, if I say in another way, like wrong people are kept out. So, okay, you wouldn't give the keys to the company's bank vault to every employee. Okay. So, of course, you won't give like that, right? You won't give all the access to all the, employees. Okay. You will restrict their access based on their job responsibility. Okay. This is, in essence, this is what SAP security is. Okay. In a very layman terms. Clear, guys? Like where this ERP comes into picture in any business and what SAP is and what's our primary duty. Okay, anyway, we are going to deep dive into these topics in very detail during our training sessions, but this is just high level understanding of what ERP, SAP, and what's our core responsibility as SAP security professionals. Is everyone clear with this understanding?
Yes, Sumant.
Great.
Yes.
Others?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so coming to our course outline, okay, what we are going to discuss in coming 2.5 to 3 months. So the very first thing that we are going to focus on, so this training is planned for like both ECC, I mean both ECC as for HANA, which covers Fiori security and GRC, okay, especially access control. Okay, within GRC, we have many like process control, risk management, but from security standpoint, we'll be focusing only on GRC access control. So all these three together. So first, we will be starting with our core SAP security, okay, which is ECC and S/4HANA. Okay, we will start with this one. Okay, I'm just starting with our course outline. Okay, now that we understood that why, okay, why this ERP, why this SAP, and what's our core, primary responsibility. But to equate with that knowledge, so whatever topics that I'm mentioning now, so that actually makes us that, at least that security SAP security professionals in the market. Okay. So first and foremost, like we will start with the very foundation, very basics. Okay. Just a second. Okay. First we will build our foundation, guys. I mean, the principles that we are about to discuss, in the introduction concepts. Okay, what exactly ERP is. We will take some real-time example how each department is linked. Okay, how all the business processes are integrated in one software and how SAP helps us to resolve that business problems. Okay, so everything like in very first we'll try to get more familiar with what SAP is and what is our responsibility as SAP security and GRC professionals. And then we will deep dive into some technical concepts which are considered as very, very, very basic. Okay, like there are some concepts.
Yeah, hello. Can you? Hello. Hi, Suman. I can't hear you anything here.
Yeah, give me a minute.
Sorry guys, it got disconnected. Till where you heard?
Till foundation, that's it.
Till foundation. Okay. So I was telling like we will start with very, very introductory concepts like understanding what is this ERP, what is this SAP, and we will see some real-time examples, real-time scenarios, how the each department is integrated within this application. Okay. So then we will start with some technical concepts. Again, that's forms and very, I mean, those are very essential to understand before we deep dive into some other areas within SAP security. Okay, so I was telling in this introduction or in this, in building our foundation for ECC and S/4HANA security, we are starting with something called a system landscape. Okay, as I told, like I was mentioning, like you guys were not able to hear that. So any company that never makes any changes directly into the production system or directly into that live SAP system, okay, because production system is is something like where actual real business is happening. Okay, so no one will take any risk. Okay, actually, it is very risky if you make any changes directly into the production system. So that's why they will follow something called as a system landscape. Okay, when it's a system landscape, so they will be having typically three system landscape. Okay, development, quality, production. Okay, they might have additional system, but this is a very common system landscape. Most of the client, most of the project follows. Okay, so the development is something. It is kind of a workshop. Like it's where we as a security consultants we build and create a new security roles. Okay, just like it is where we start our maintenance activities, customizations. Okay, and then we have something called as a quality system. Okay, this is where like once we build anything in the development system like roles, okay, there is something called roles and all. So once we build those in the development system, we move it to the quality for testing to make sure it works perfectly without giving away too much access to the users. Okay, so then finally, after it undergoes all types of testing in the development and quality, and once we get a sign of that, okay, everything is perfect, we are good to move changes to the production. Then at that time, we will move all the changes from development to quality to production. So this is the live show now. Like this is the system that that's entire company uses for its day-to-day business. Okay, it contains that real, sensitive data. Okay, we only move our changes here after they have been perfectly tested in the quality. Okay, so yeah, we'll like this is what development, quality, production flow is the fundamental concept called change management, and it basically it ensures that stability and security. So in our training, we will learn exactly how to transport our changes through this landscape. Okay, so we'll start with the system landscape. We'll start with what our SAP clients and all the basic things. Then we will start with the user administration. Okay, and other introductory concepts. Okay, so I'm not noting down everything here. Okay, again, that will become a huge document. So then we will start with user administration. Okay, so this is like every single person who needs to log in into SAP. Okay, they will get their user master record. When I say user master record, their user, their records gets created in the system. Okay, just like a digital ID card they are carrying. Okay, think of it as their suppose for using a transaction code, that's something a command in SAP. Okay, uh, we use SU01 T code for user administration. Okay, again, okay, there is something called transaction codes or some commands in SAP. So we use that to perform this user admin activities. Okay, so here in this area we will try to understand how to create a users, how to modify users. Okay, basically how to create and how to maintain users. Okay, how to assign them roles or resetting the password or locking, unlocking. So all that uh, you know topics that we are going to discuss within this user administration area. Okay, like locking a user if they leave company, or if they pose any security risk, how immediately we will lock their accounts, how we will terminate their accounts once they offboard from the project or offboard from the company. So how to unlock them or reset their password if they get stuck. Okay, so all those things like we are going to cover in user administration. Okay, and it's quite interesting also. Okay, there are some T codes that we'll be using called SU01, SU10, and all. So this is our first point of control, basically. Okay, so but giving someone a user ID is not just enough. Okay, we need to move. We need to decide what they're allowed to do. Okay, just creating their accounts is not sufficient, right? But what access we are giving to the users, that should make proper sense as a security professional. So that's our core responsibility. Okay, but before getting into that giving access, we will understand the authorization concept. Okay, I mean, okay, just relate with that example. Okay, holding the lock and the keys of that lock. Okay, we are the holding that lock and key of that system. So this is kind of this authorization concept is, I would say, it's the absolute heart of SAP security. Okay, so please pay close attention to this topic. This author, unless and until we understand this one, it's not rocket science, but you will find difficulty to digest other concepts. Like if you don't get into, if you don't get good understanding of authorization concept. But we have a very structured learning. Like we will understand each and everything with its authorization component. Like we have something like authorization components, authorization class, authorization object, field and values, and authorization check process. How exactly it checks. Okay, we will. Okay, we spend ample amount of time here. Okay, so almost a week to understand this authorization concepts before getting into the next topics. Okay, just imagine this SAP is a huge building with thousands of rooms, and each room is let's say a specific business activity. Okay, let's say if we consider procurement, okay, like creating some purchase order, or if we consider finance, like viewing some customers balance. Okay, in SAP, that the door to that each room is something called as transaction code. Okay, something we have like VA01 to create a sales order, or some other, we call it as a T codes at a transaction. So simply having that key to that main building. Okay, I mean, when I say having that key to the main building, like creating their user IDs. Okay, doesn't mean that they can open every room. Like you need a specific key for each door, right? So but it gets more detailed. Okay, when you deep dive into that. Okay, inside each room there might be different things like filling, some filing cabinets, or maybe one cabinet is for domestic sales and another for international sales. Okay, just I'm trying to give that example for better understanding. Okay, you might have that key to create a sales order room, but you should only be able to access the domestic sales cabinet. Okay, I mean, there are some data access requirements also. Okay, if I give some access to your ID, what data you are able to access exactly? Suppose you are based in Hyderabad. Okay, but I'm instead of restricting the data access to only Hyderabad location, if I give data access to other locations also, Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, like that. So what it's not according to our security policy. You should be restricted to only that specific location. Okay, even the data access requirements also comes into picture, not just giving some some generic access. I mean, creating purchase order. So okay, for which location you are allowed to do that specific activity, that also matters. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to explain. So that's where we will all that understanding we will get in this authorization concept. Okay, basically this answers questions like which company's data you can see, which type of document you can create, which type of uh, let's say consider in the finance area. Okay, what type of maximum discount you can approve. Okay, there are many such business scenarios, hundreds, thousands of such business scenarios, but basically how it controls your access, that's a final understanding. Okay, so this authorization is basically is a combination of permissions, okay, to perform any action. Okay, when I say any action, like transactions or transaction codes, and the I mean, and also as I told you, data access requirement. That means a specific, in technically I would call organizational level that you can do it. Okay, so that everything is controlled by something called authorization objects and the field and values. Okay, so we'll have a better understanding. Like we will see uh, something called authorization components here, like okay, what is authorization class, what is authorization object, what is authorization field and values. Okay, we will try to understand in detail what is something called SC22 and SC24 T codes. Okay, and authorization check process. Okay, there are many that we are going to discuss in authorization concept. Okay, once you have this clear understanding, okay, then we will get into the concept of roles and profiles. Okay, so now imagine we have, let's say, around 500 salespeople, okay, who all need that exact same set of roles, okay, same set of keys. Okay, would you manage that, let's say, 500 salespeople and same exact set of 30 roles? Okay, I'm just calling that roles as keys. Okay, keys to unlock that. Okay, access. Okay, so 500 salespeople and set of 30 keys. So would you manage that 500 into 30, 15,000 individual keys? No, right? So you would create some master keyring, okay, for salesperson and give that one keyring to all that 500 of them. Okay, again, don't get confused, guys. So this is where this roles and profiles comes in picture. I was telling like 500 sales people. Okay, and you want to give 30 roles. Okay, and 30 keys. Okay, just since you're not aware what are roles and profiles, I'm just okay. There are 500 sales people users, and you want to give 30 keys to them. So overall, you need to manage 15,000 keys, right? Okay, individual keys. Okay, but instead of that, creating that 15,000, what we will do, we will create some master keyring. Okay, for salespeople. This is just for, and if some user is a salesperson, okay, we will create that master ring for salespeople, and we will give that one ring to the all 500 of them. It's like that. So in SAP, just key the consider that keyring as a role. Okay. So basically this, okay, don't get confused with this. Just role is like a container, guys. Okay. We put all the authorizations, all the transaction codes, and all the necessary authorizations into this roles. Okay, into this container. Roles are like just like a container of that authorizations. Okay, we build these roles using another powerful transaction called PFCGs. For user administration, we use SU01 or SU10. Okay, there are something called transaction codes. So for similarly for roles, we use PFCG. Okay, so after that, roles and profiles, okay, you will get a perfect understanding how to maintain users, and you exactly understand like how this authorization check process happens, what's the exact mechanism that SAP is following to check any authorization whenever his user is trying to access something. Okay, then you are good with creation of different types of roles, maintaining different types of roles, how to maintain authorization. There are many uh, you know topics under within roles and profiles. Like there are different concepts like types of roles, master roles and derived role concept, composite role, derived, I mean composite roles, and we'll be having some mass maintenance activities. Okay, there are a hell lot of things that we are going to discuss within this authorization concept and roles and profiles. Okay, so again after this, okay, you are good with creation and maintenance of users, you are good with assigning access to them. Now after that, what happens when a user is tries to access something? Okay, if that doesn't work, of course you assign the required access, but sometimes they will get an access denied error or some authorization error. So this is where we become some detectives. Okay, so we also have some amazing tools to solve those access issues. So that entire discussion I will put under troubleshooting. Okay. So the next topic that we will get perfect is with the troubleshooting. Okay. Here also we are going to discuss a lot. Okay. There we have something, uh, tools like SA53. Basically, the users run this right after they get an authorization error. It shows like a simple report. Okay. That you are missing this specific access or the specific key. Okay. And we have some tracing tools like ST01, ST auth trace. Okay. So I'll not get into technical stuff again. Like these are like just like a, our CCTV footage. Okay, we can switch on the trace for the user and ask them to repeat that action, and the SAP will record every single authorization check that happened in the background. Okay, it basically tells us exactly what they try to do and what exactly it is failing during that authorization check. Okay, so basically we'll master these tools in what, okay, that actually that separates our expertise from being very beginner at SAP security level. Okay. So, and having this good understanding of user administration, role administration, authorization concept, and troubleshooting, okay, this will actually make you, somewhat expertise in the area of SAP security. Okay. And after this, we'll also try to understand, the auditing. Okay. And some, some, when I say, okay, some critical access, sorry, some critical authorizations or some kind of a table level security. So all that topics we are going to discuss as a part of other module. Okay, just like we are guarding some jewels. When I say jewels, like those are considered as some critical authorizations. Okay, some access is so powerful, it can bring a company down if it is misused. Okay, if there is some ill intention behind using that critical authorizations, so that entire company may come down. Okay, and guys, just remember, like as a security professionals, okay, as a SAP Security and GRC consultants, okay, it's not something, okay, that we are doing something on the screen. Okay, so whatever doing on this PC, on this laptop screen, that actually affects the business in the background, that will have that impact on the business. Okay, if you're creating some user, if you're assigning some access to the user, then that user is, getting into that system using those credentials with that access. If we perform some activity, that's the real time that business transaction is happening, right? So always think from this perspective. It is not just something that you're doing on the screen, you're doing some clicks, okay, you are making your job done, okay, for that day. It's not that, okay, you are carrying that responsibility, okay, restricting the users with the limited access or whatever they need and properly monitoring it and everything is properly documented. So try understanding how it is impacting the business in the back end, just rather than understanding, okay, executing the SE01, creating user, assigning roles, and my job is done. No, try to understand how it is impacting the business, how it is helping the business to run their, transactions. Okay, so that's very crucial to understand before we get into all this technical stuff. Okay, so similar, like there are some critical authorizations in the system which we consider as most powerful. Okay, so act something like, giving access to changing the salaries or paying the vendors, seeing all the customer data. So when I say these words, like how sensitive it sounds. Okay, checking the payroll of some high level officials. Okay, CEO, CFO, their data. So it's very sensitive, right? We need to monitor those. So there are some critical authorizations also in SAP. So for that, we will be discussing some security audit logs. SM, basically we use SM20T code. So this is just like a when I say security audit logs. So basically, it is like a logbook that tracks all the critical activities, like who logged in, who tried to run a powerful transaction, who logged the user. Like there are many. Basically, it records everything. It's essential for security audits. And then we will discuss some critical authorizations and table level security. Okay. So basically, critical authorization, this refers to giving someone, very wider access. Okay, like there is something called SAP All Profile, some debug access. Okay, so which is like you are giving key to that entire SAP kingdom. Okay, so the coming to our part from security side, it is our duty, it is our job to ensure this is never ever given out in the production system. Even if it is given, like it should follow some the defined process and the approvals and all the exceptions. Okay, in a very controlled and I would say in some emergency situation, we will assign it in a very controlled and secure way. Okay, so like this is all we are going to discuss here, but there are many. Okay, if I give that outline, okay, it's the GRC. If I go back, S4HANA. So there are many that we are going to discuss. Okay, so almost this is planned for 20 days. I'm not noting down everything here. Just the I'm putting everything and in just a module name. Okay, user administration. So within user administration, if you want me to name all the activities that we do, okay, we will discuss how we use SC01, how we use SU10 for single user and mass maintenance, and what all functionalities that we can access in SC01. There are something called user group in under log and data and the group tab separate. We try to understand each tab in SC01, and there is something called user buffer concepts and some user related tables that we execute, and we also see some how to check the change documents. Okay, there are lot of hands-on that we will be doing. Okay, the reason that why I planned this entire course for 3 months is not just theoretical understanding, right? So since you are coming from the different backgrounds, it's our main aim is to to make you more equipped with that all the real time examples, more hands-on, rather than just being the theoretical, because everywhere it is already available, all the content, okay, to have that theoretical understanding. But what actually makes the difference is that how uh, we perform the hands-on, how we will get those requests in the real time. Okay, that makes actual difference if you are taking this training explicitly. Okay, so after discussing this ECC security, and then we will start with a Fiori security, guys. Okay, so this is again everything we have just discussed is the of course this is a no unbreakable foundation. Okay, but the way users interacts with SAP has changed, you know, in the last few decades. Okay, like SAP has evolved. Okay, in just to enhance that user's experience. Okay, that old and classic screen is being replaced by some modern app-based interface. Okay, that even works on your phone, tablet, or browser. Okay, that is called SAP Fiori. Okay, so from security standpoint, we are going to focus only on our security areas. Okay, just think of okay, when I say Fiori security and EC security, so here we'll be working with some complex screens, and this is a very modern. Just think of its difference between some old Nokia phone and new iPhone. Okay, so both are used to make the calls, and the core functionality remains same. Most of it, the core purpose, but the experience is like completely different. Okay, of course, that's a very vintage one. Everyone likes that. But Fiori is something like it's a modern user interface for SAP. Okay, again, from security standpoint, uh, we are the people like, okay, no, it's not everything that will be taken care, like creating apps and all that. But from security standpoint, like we are going to focus on few areas, basically securing that Fiori apps and all. Okay, in configuring that Fiori apps, and there is something called creation of catalogs and groups. Okay, we will try to understand what is Fiori and all, basically all the introduction. Okay, then we'll try to understand the architecture here. Okay, basically, this Fiori architecture contains the two main for the front end server and the back end server. Okay, we'll try to understand what is the front end server and the back end server, and something called what are the OData services. Okay, basically the front end is like you might have heard in other technologies also, like this is what presents the user interface, basically where that user interacts with the system. Okay, just like a web browser, it's a user interface. Okay, whereas a backend is like this is our either ECC or S/4HANA system or any other backend system. It's like the backend server that holds all the data and where that business logic runs. Okay, we'll try to understand the architecture of Fiori. Okay, I mean how exactly it works. Okay, what are the OData services and all that. Okay, so actually, this Fiori security means we have to grant access on both the sides, okay, front end and the back end. And we have a different deployment models. I mean, we have something called embedded model. We have something called embedded model or central hub. Okay, recently they have added, deployment on BTP also. Okay, cloud deployment. I mean, this is on no SAP BTP. That's a new concept that got introduced. Okay, so we will also try to understand this Fiori apps library. Okay, how exactly we take that as a reference. Okay, but because this is just like in a SAP App Store, just like how we have this Google Play Store and App Store for iOS, we have SAP Fiori apps library for SAP App Store. Okay, before we do anything, we go here to find the apps and the business needs, and it tells us exactly what technical components are required to make them work. Okay, so yeah, we'll also try to understand the basic terminology like catalog, groups, and all that, OData services and all that. Then we will implement each application type. Okay, each application type means like we have something called transactional, analytical, and fact sheets. Okay, so we will implement each application. Okay, and we will also here also we have separate troubleshooting techniques. So we'll also learn how we troubleshoot basic Fiori access issues, what all issues that we might get in the Fiori security area and all that stuff. Okay. So that pretty much covers in a Fiori security. And yeah, once you have a good understanding on this, so understanding this Fiori security is not at all a big deal. Okay, so there are many technical stuff that we are going to cover, but this is just an overview what we are going to cover in our course. Okay, then so the final part is GRC access control. Okay, GRC access control like SAP GRC access control because GRC is available in all the ERP applications. So GRC access control. So this is again it may go till it may go for 1 month, this for 1 month, this for around 20 to 25 sessions, and this we can wrap up in 10 to 15 days. Okay. So overall, it may go till 3 months. That's what I told, right? So, okay, let me pass for a minute. So, are you clear till here? I mean, till Fiori security, what we are going to discuss, I mean, the course outline till Fiori. Are you able to follow?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Others, yes.
Yes,
Hello.
Sumant.
Uh,
Yes.
Yes.
this is Parvez. I have some couple of points here. Like in
Yes.
for HANA, there are like, are we not going to have detail in RFC connections related to the
See,
transport?
again, that's not our cup of tea, but I am going to throw some light on okay, what is RFC connections, how we maintain those, but that's purely a basis task. Okay, we are focused on security task. Okay, mostly from
But
security side.
most of the
Okay,
part we are doing as a configuration, right, in RFC.
correct, correct. So
But
that
for the
anyway we
troubleshooting, we
will
need to
cover.
go for to test the connection. So we should
Exactly.
know
That
somewhere.
that we will cover. That we will cover during our troubleshooting and all. Even in GRC also, when you are configuring, ARM, ARE. Okay, there are some modules within GRC. So when we are doing configurations also we will set up the connectors, all the connection settings. Okay, there also we will touch base on RFC concepts. Okay, so we are going to cover pretty much that is needed as a security consultants.
Okay, related to the the most common programs, you can say PFUD, which are running
Of
on
course, that we
parallel.
are going to cover during that role maintenance
Okay.
only. Okay, when you go to role maintenance, if you are already aware with SAP security concepts in PFCG, we have a mass maintenance options like mass generations, mass
No,
comparison.
related to the
Okay, as we
background
told.
jobs which are being required day to day life. So
Yes,
syncing of
yes,
roles
that
and
that also we are going to cover. Okay, the SAP background
so
jobs,
are
how
we
we
not
schedule.
doing firefighter in access control?
Yeah, I'm about to explain that, what we are going to cover in GRC. Okay, this is mostly focused on, those who are coming from very scratch. Okay, they don't know what is
Yes.
SAP is. If I talk about all this technical stuff like scheduling, background jobs, RFC, okay, they will get, I think you understand, right? So
Yes.
better not to get into all this technical. If you're already an experienced one, then it's good to get into these details in these demo sessions.
So in access control part, what like we are
Mhm.
going from the scratch, like from the
Yes,
implementation part, right? So all the
yes.
A to Z
First,
like MSMP and everything.
yes. So, guys, no, this I'm going into a bit technical. Those who don't understand that, it's totally fine. But just to explain this question, uh, okay, so in GRC, right, how we will start? First, we will try to understand what exactly GRC is, and within GRC, what all things we have, like access control, process control, risk management. What for what purpose we'll use that? Okay, after because GRC is is a solution available with all the ERPs, whether you take SAP, Oracle, Dynamic 365, or work anywhere. Okay, but what actually this SAP GRC access control that makes a difference compared to ERP. So after having all this foundational understanding, then we will deep dive into each module of GRC. Okay. And before that, there are some post installation steps and some pre checks that we perform. Okay, before we start with configurations. Okay, whether you start with EARM, ARA, or EAM, BRM. Okay, so we will do some post installation step, and we'll do some pre-configurations, okay, performing that automatic workflow and setting up all the connectors and everything. We will check all the connectors between this GRC system and the satellite system, I mean plugin systems. Okay, so then we will actually start with defining that each configuration parameters and all the configurations, okay, and scheduling the sync jobs in a sequence. Okay, then we will do the hands-on on each component. Okay, ARA, I mean how we run the risk analysis, how we create a custom rule set, how we create a custom SOD, custom function, how we do the rule set updates, how we, okay, basically there are many activities that involved in each component. Okay, and as you told, like in AR, as a part of ARM, we will be seeing each work area of MSMB workflow, how we configure that, how exactly it works, and the BRF plus configurations. If time permits, we'll touch base on BRF plus configurations. Okay, but that again too much technical. Okay, yeah, we'll be working on that workflow configurations, and how then we'll try raising that access request, how exact that workflow works and all. Then we will get into the EIM component, where we use that component in emergency situations for assigning the temporary wider access. Okay, so there also we will learn how to set up firefighter IDs, how to set up GRC access owners, how to map those firefighter owners and controllers to that FFIDs, how to uh, set up the reason codes, how to map those and all that. And finally, we are good with assigning firefighter access to the firefighters. Okay, all these things we are going to cover. Okay, but since this is a demo session, I'm just giving a course outline and not very much getting into each and every detail, so that at least they will have a good understanding, okay, what we are going to cover as a part of the stream. Got it? I think Parvez, right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you. Any other questions, guys? So far, whatever we discussed.
So are you having the part called ECC and S4 HANA? So how it gets migration? How what are the pre-checks? Are you gonna do
No, no, we are not
enhance
going
on
to
that
cover
as well?
any migration or any upgrade steps here as a part of this. Okay, again, that will see, even just completing this, I'm taking 3 months. So that means you can think, how detailed we are going to discuss. If we
No,
again
I
get into
aware of
that
access
migration,
control. We can have a time, okay, because that is too
mhm,
much big.
yes.
But in terms of ECC, we is that point there or not? Because I
No,
don't think so.
actually,
It
we are
gets
not going
more.
to discuss on the migrations or an upgrade activities as a part of this training. If you want, I can, take a separately on that. Okay, because anyway, we'll be having all that migration, guides, comprehensive guides for that and upgrade
Because
steps.
now
Okay, where we
more
follow.
the
Mhm.
most point now every company gonna face is that ECC gonna stop there.
See,
They are stopping the licensing and
that's
support from
true. Yeah,
SAP
the
from
tentative date they
2027.
gave
I
is
heard something like that.
by
Yes.
2030, as per recent
Uh,
discussions. By
so
2030, they are trying
they
to.
every company are trying to move to S4 HANA or the cloud, etc. So I thought that
Yes.
step it is there or not. Okay.
See, that once you get perfect with all the basics, all the perfect understanding, the mechanism, how exactly it is working, and especially this S4 HANA, Fiori GIS, once this is done, that comes after all these things. Okay, anyway, only few will get the opportunity to work in the upgrade and migration project, and anyway, they are going to learn on the go. And it's not like, you just got into the company, they are expecting everything from you, that okay, you should perform this migration. No, first let's equip with all the basics, proper understanding, just connect all those dots, and try to understand where exactly it fits in the business. Okay, after having this understanding, then we will explore on that migration, upgrade, or some cloud security like BTP, and now it is very booming, right? Then you can increase your footprints, okay, to other ERPs like Oracle, no, Oracle Cloud Security and all that. Okay, first let's try to understand what you know falls in our bug. I mean, the basic understanding of what security is or the ECC is, for because this forms a foundation. If you have the good understanding of that, this authorization mechanism, then you can relate with everything. Migration, this is some set of steps that we perform, some set of validations we perform, and everything is already clearly documented in the comprehensive guides provided by SAP. And this is like on the go, you will be learning from the seniors and all. Okay, and same goes with the upgrade projects also. Okay, but the core steps that we perform in the system, that we should get perfect. Okay, so as a part of this course, we are not touching base on that migration and all those steps. You got the context, right? So why it skipped and no, exactly how it is planned. Are you clear?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, guys. So yeah, in the interest of time, okay. I hope no other questions. So anything else like so far what we discussed here?
So I just need to know how this gonna happen in 3 months, like what the
Mm-hmm.
timings and everything related to that.
I didn't get you exactly. Can you come again?
Like the scheduling time, like how it be
See,
weekly or
we
something like.
it is like we are planning the morning batches. Okay, morning 7:30 to 8:30, because you are, well, like most of us are into multiple other engagements. Okay, so mostly morning time is you know most feasible for everyone.
So it's
Okay, so
like
that's what we are
weekly or
planning.
something like weekend related.
No, it's
I
a
mean,
weekly, Monday to Friday, morning 7:30 to 8:30. But we can also have like alternate days, so that you will get a time for hands-on in between, and we can have a 2 hour session on weekends, either on Saturday or Sunday, whatever you are comfortable with. Like if we have a session on Monday, we can have it on Wednesday, and then on Friday, and then on Sunday, like that, so that at least you'll get a good amount of time in between for hands-on, if you use it for a right purpose. Okay, either we can follow that schedule, or we can plan from Monday to Friday morning 7:30 8:30 fix, like that. Okay, so we will let you know about that schedule timings and all, but mostly we are planning for the morning batch, starting from 7:30 to 8:30. Okay. Okay, guys, for others, is it clear so far whatever we discussed? Yes, no, maybe confused or excited.
Guys, please respond.
Yes, we understand.
Okay,
Yes,
cool.
clear question.
Thank you. Thanks for confirming. Okay, we'll let with few minutes. Okay, I'll just try to cover what all things that Ramesh, you are asking something? Pradeep
Nothing,
or
nothing.
okay.
But
Pradeep, you are
little bit
asking something?
thing in between
No,
GRC
it's clear.
areas.
So, okay. So since you're running out of time, let's I'm hearing my voice. Okay, now it's okay. So in GRC access control, like okay. So we know how to build roles on one user, or even for 500 users, you are good with authorization, you are good with Fiori security. I mean, after completing all these topics. Okay. So, but how about, like suppose if company is having around 1 lakh employees and they spread across 50 countries. So how do you manage security at that scale? How do you prove the auditors that you are, very compliant and very secure? Okay, so manually it's not possible. So that's why this SAP created this GRC solution, this governance, risk and compliance. Okay, GRC, governance, risk and compliance. Okay, so this is in a separate, again, a powerful system that sits on top of your entire SAP landscape. Okay, this is just to automate and to enforce that security policies, guys. Okay, so basically this GRC access control has a four components. So in our training, we will configure them from scratch and we will do hands-on on all these four components. One is ARA, which is access risk analysis. So this is kind of a, to put in a simple terms, kind of a rule checker. Okay, before you even assign a role to someone, or before you do something in the system, this ARA checks it against a something called a rule book, something called a rule set, or we will learn many concepts like concept of SOD, segregation of duties and all. Basically, this SOD conflict is giving one person the ability to do two conflicting things. Okay, like creating, let's say okay, we are discussing on creating a purchase order, right? Suppose let's consider two conflicting things. Okay, like creating some fake vendor and paying that fake vendor. That's a huge fraud, right? Huge risk. So ARA, as this access risk analysis, acts as an automated guard. Okay, the preventing those toxic combination before they even happen. Okay, so we will deep dive into this ARA concepts, which is risk analysis. Okay, and we will also next there is another model ARM. This is access request management. Okay, this is a kind of an automated workflow. Like forget about emails and paper forms to request SAP access. So ARM provides some user-friendly web portal. I mean, where a manager can request access for their employee, or even they can request raise on their own behalf, or we raise request. Basically, uh, the request then automatically flows through some predefined workflow. I mean, approval path. Let's say if I submit some access request, it will go through manager approval, then it will go to something called role owner approval, then to the SOD approval, then to security stage. Okay, there is a workflow. Basically, there's approval process. After all the stages, once it passes all the stages successfully, then only their access will get provisioned in the target system. It's like that. Okay, again, don't get confused, and sounds a bit confusing at this stage, I know. And because but this is very efficient and kind of a controlled and auditable. Like we will learn to build this MSMP workflows here. Okay, and then we have a BRM, which is called business role management. So here it's a kind of a central and the controlled environment for designing and maintaining your roles. Okay, it basically enforces that standardized, I mean, clean methodology. Okay, whatever we perform through PFCG and all, like there is a feature in GRC also that the same activities that we can perform through GRC. Okay, but there are many other features available within the BRM, but very few clients will implement this BRM end to end. So far, that's what I observed. So yeah, this is kind of, instead of building the rules directly in the backend system using this PFCG. So what we do basically, you design them in the BRM. Okay, just to run them through some risk analysis, getting approvals, then it is automatically generated the roles in the backend system. So it works in that way. Okay, it ensures all your roles are clean from day one. Okay, then we will discuss EAM, which is emergency access management. Okay, so again, this is break glass solution, I would say, guys. Okay, what happens? Suppose let's consider one example. Okay, some head of that payroll is on vacation and critical payroll run has to happen at the midnight. Okay, some key or some critical action they want to perform, which cannot perform with their own user IDs because their user IDs are assigned with limited access in the production system. Okay, so you need to grant someone a temporary emergency access, right? So EAM, also known as something called a firefighter. When I say firefighter, even if you guys are already working some companies like the firefighter glass window, firefighter window, so you might hear such words. It will allow you to use in some emergency cases. Okay, so any user can, check out this in a powerful firefighter ID to perform some emergency task, or even a single, action, maybe which is considered as some wider access. Okay, they will perform using this firefighter access. Okay, basically, why we are using the CIM separately, why we can't use their own user IDs, because this every action, every single thing that they do is logged for review, and it will go through the approval. It is a very secure way to handle such emergencies. I mean, without breaking our compliance, I would say. Okay. So there are many things, like if you want me to show the content of GRC, so there are many things that we are going to discuss. See, all these things, starting from introduction, regulations, organization of. So I'm not noting down everything. Basically, after having all this, we'll be discussing ARA, BRM, ARM, EAM, and we'll also discuss user access review and all the stuff. Okay, again, this may go for almost a month. And yeah, it's 11:14. Okay, so let's take a breath and look at what we have covered so far. Okay, we started with a big picture, understanding that SAP is a digital brain for a company, right? So we then build the foundation of our core security, like I mean, what we are going to cover in our course. Okay, so starting with the foundation of core security, then system landscape, then user administration, and the crucial uh, concept, like in the authorization concept, and how to build the roles and profiles. Okay, so and okay, we'll be covering the troubleshooting audit. There are many other topics, guys, but this is just an overview. And then we move to the modern world of Fiori. Okay, so we'll start with the Fiori security. We'll learn how security extends to the new app-based user experience, and finally, and like here we cover all these things, introduction, architecture, deployment, and Fiori apps library, getting familiar with Fiori apps library, each and every option available in that, and how we implement each, how we configure each application type, and how we basically troubleshoot, just like how we do it in the ECC. And then finally we saw how to not how to, but what we are going to cover in SAP GRC access control. Basically, this, as I told, this is a powerful automation of all the access related stuff. Okay, so yeah, this session was just a glimpse. I mean, that I would say that tip of the iceberg. Okay, so like it was the kind of just what and the why, but our full training course is like how we do. Basically, we'll start from zero and we'll go step by step through every topic I mentioned, and you will get hands-on access to live SAP system. I will be providing that server access also. You won't just listen to me talking like this in the demo session. You will be like doing more hands-on, like as I told, in user administration will be using SC01 for creating users. You will be using PFCG for building the different types of roles, like single roles, composite roles. There are something called master and derived roles. And for troubleshooting, you will be using SU53 and this ST01 uh, traces to become troubleshooting expert, basically. So again, we will then build a Fiori security from end to end. Like you will take the business requirement, like finding the app in the Fiori apps library, and basically we'll try to see how we configure apps from end to end. Okay, so and how we'll give access, how we will take consider this front end and back end servers during our authorization, how it is different from ECC security, and what all additional topics that we include in this. Okay, so yeah, and finally we will deep dive into GRC, which is very uh, niche skill that everyone should have. It's very essential nowadays. Okay, there is no interview without GRC. Okay, no one will take just interview on the CCC. Okay, they will expect Fiori and GRC also. Okay, so in the GRC, yeah, you will log in into GRC system. You will run the SOD risk analysis. You will configure MSMP. You will manage firefighter sessions. But there are many hands-on activities that you are going to perform as a part of all these three areas. Okay, basically, I mean, by end of our journey together, you won't just have the notes, documentation. You'll have that practical, real world, I mean, skills, like you will be able to confidently walk into any interviews or explain the difference between, any of these topics. Okay. So, yeah, so that's all. Just my commitment to you is to make you enough confident, enough capable, and, if you are, uh, learning from very scratch and want to become get into this domain, okay, this will also make you to job ready. Okay, this SAP security and GRC professionals, this is an incredible, I would say, in demand skill set, guys. Okay, it's all starts here. Okay, I'm really excited on this journey with you all. So again, I'm done from my side. Thank you for your time and attention today. So yeah, open for questions if any. Okay, sorry for extending a bit, but yeah. Okay, now I'm open for any questions, whatever you're having. All good so far, whatever we discussed.
Yes, Raman,
Sorry,
one
Ramesh, you are not. Yes,
yeah,
Ramesh.
yeah.
Tell me.
Actually, I'm from completely non-SAP background.
Okay.
Um, how was the future scope of SAP Security GRC side? Many of the people told me like that there is no that much of
Mhm.
calls comparing to other modules, like SAP MM, SAP SD.
Okay.
So
So
is it
yeah,
real?
so yeah, that's a very common question for guys. Ramesh, can you please go on mute because whenever I'm speaking, hearing my own. Okay, now it's fine. Yeah, what I was telling, yeah, that's very common question everyone will have, but compared to other domains, if you consider some full stack, a month stack, or other Power BI, all that stuff, like because of this Chennai and all other automation, so there is, the current market situation also, right? But as I told, SAP is a market leader for ERP. Okay, it is not just having very few number of projects like that, but till the business is live. Okay, any companies, whether it's a small scale, large scale, there are n number of ERP projects. Okay, and if you just okay, even in the very starting, we will see how that SAP is evolved over the decades. Okay, how many what are the different types of projects we might get. Okay, so I'm just giving the background before answering your exact question. Okay, so in the market there are n number of ERP projects. So definitely when it comes to the scope, security and GRC, it's a very booming. Okay, and the reason why we won't get more calls compared to other domains, like in it's a kind of a demand and supply, guys. Okay, now see, this SAP is a small world basically, but you have enough opportunities in the market to prove yourself, and it's a very secure also. Okay, we are having a lot of scope. Even if there is a lot of automation, AI tools that comes into the market, still this GRC won't go because this needs some, investigation, troubleshooting, manual intervention, right? So, but I don't know who told you that we are not getting calls, but there is a demand, high demand for that. But because of, in the recent market trend, there is a lot of competition and there are a lot of profiles that are floating, and recession and all that, that might be the case. But yeah, we are getting calls, we are having good scope on this. Okay, but if you have the skills, like you will sustain it. uh, yes, Ramesh,
Yeah,
as soon as
got
you
it.
unmute, like I'm
Nothing.
hearing myself. Yeah, you are saying something. I'll be on mute.
Nothing. Actually, I'm talking about comparing to in SAP only. SAP, like suppose like an example of some. PP consultants is there, MM
Okay,
consultant.
okay. So within SAP, right? So we have
Uh,
a functional modules, technical
yes,
modules. Like on technical side, we have SAP Basis, ABAP, right? So
yes,
in even in my previous batches also, many folks they moved from Basis to Security and GRC. They moved from ABAP to here. So like basically who don't like coding and all, okay. So they moved from ABAP to here. And Basis also, since there is we are migrating to cloud and everything. So there are a lot of administration activities that are getting automated. So mostly in the coming years, even basis consultants they will also move to some other area within SAP. Okay, so even basis are also moving to SAP security. So the reason why they are picking this, okay, you might relate why they are moving to security and GRC because it's having a lot of scope and the functionals also some who are very bored with that functionals I mean side SD FICO all that they are also moving here but completely depends on their interest but if we talk about the demand and all suppose if there is an SAP project where there are few business processes that are in scope everywhere they need technical consultants function consultant depends on what business process they are implementing but for every SAP project they need a technical consultant. When I say technical consultant, basis, security and GRC, ABAP. Okay, so all these are essential to set up their system, to configure their system, to customize according to their business requirement. Okay, so even if there is no demand for all the functional consultants, there is a demand for technical consultants everywhere because there is no single SAP project without technical consultants. Got it? That is
yeah, got it.
the high
Yes,
level
yes.
picture. Okay. The choice that you made is good one. Don't regret. Okay. Yeah. Any other thing, guys? Okay, I'll take the silence as no. Please get in touch with Vinita and confirm your enrollment to Vinita. Okay. So if you guys are interested, we'll again catch up in our day one session. Thanks a lot for all your attention. If no questions, we are good to drop off. Thank you guys. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Suman. Thanks for your time. Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.